I have one. This one's a little nuanced. My way is the only way.
Oh, yeah.
And
these are the camps.
Right.
Yeah.
Tend to be camps. You get this with, especially in the diet world a lot where, and part of the strategy is to demonize all the other sides, right? Their way of training. This is why it's all terrible. That's why you have to do mine. Or, oh, it's this diet. I can't believe people eat this way. It's so bad. That's why you need to eat this way that I'm talking about. And so this idea of that, it's my way is the superior.
My camp is better than yours.
Right. And so I think to be cautious of that influencer that's promoting. And by the way, it's a very strong strategy. I had somebody, who did I hear, that was breaking down all the things why Liver King was so successful. And one of those was how he communicates to, there's primal, he makes you very exclusive, right? To be a part of their group.
Yeah.
Like you're part of the primals. Primal! If you do these things, and you're subprimal if you don't. So it's a little, you're less than, right? If you're in my group and you align with me, you're part of the in crowd. Yeah. Everybody else is out, is subprimal to what we do.
The reason why this
normies.
is normies. The reason why this is, I would say this one's a bad one, is because the nuances. Well, yeah, exactly. But also just the nuances and variability from person to person when it comes to. I mean, there are general truths, so don't get me wrong, but when you get down to the specifics, man, is it different from person to person. I'll give you a silly example, right? So I could very easily, and I make this argument all the time, that strength training is the superior form of exercise when it comes to fat loss, superior to any other form of exercise. Okay. Does that mean it's true for everybody? No, it doesn't mean it's true for everybody. Now, physiologically, it's true. I could make that argument. But in a real world, it's not always true, because if John over here hates strength training, can't stand strength training, never wants to do strength, and just loves to swim, well, guess what? Swimming is the best form of exercise for him for fat loss. That's just one extreme example of nuance, but it goes so far, like machines versus free weights, bodybuilding versus powerlifting versus weightlifting, circuit training versus long rest periods, right? Keto versus paleo versus carnivore versus vegan. I can see value in almost every single one of these and apply that value depending on the situation. And again, the nuances that you find with individuals, I can take each one of those things and see how there may be potential value depending on the person that I'm talking to. By the way, the person you'll never find that'll say that it's that rigid with my way is the only way, the person you'll almost never see that way is a coach who's been training lots of people for the last decade or two. Yeah. They will almost never be that way because, by the way, most trainers start out this way. Most trainers and coaches start out with my way is the only way, but they stay with it 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they keep getting slapped in the face with, boy, people are different, and this doesn't always work.
And by the way, I think it's rare that you actually hear them communicate it that way. That's like, oh, my way is the only way. It's just the way they present their message around how to train, how to diet. It becomes very much so one way, and that they may not be saying that like my way is the only way, but the way they promote their message.
So passionate about their methods that it overshadows like that. There's probably other things out there that they still are unaware of. They need to educate themselves further. I think the biggest red flag is that they're not continually educating themselves and remaining a student. And so this is something that I always pick up on if like somebody's speaking with that much authority and you realize they don't even know all these other methods that I would present.
Well, that's, if you were going to follow someone like this, then I would actively seek out all the other people that are zealots about their thing. So I have at least
very good.
Right. So let's say I'm like the hardcore carnivore guy, that this is the only way to eat and it's superior. Then I'm gonna go get me a vegan guy who feels the same way about veganism. I'm gonna get
listen to the points.
Right. And listen to the points. Totally. So if you are going to follow someone like this, be cautious and make sure that you're also following somebody that completely disagrees with that
all
person.
The extremes in the spectrum.
Yes.
Balance it that
so
way.
you get at least, I mean, I do this like with like real estate. I love following like a Dave Ramsey and a Robert Kiyosaki. Like they completely disagree about investing. And you tend to have camps. Either you're a Kiyosaki guy or you're a Ramsey guy, and they talk shit to it. I follow both because I like to hear.
And there's some truth in both.
There is some truth in both. And I think that's important to take away as the consumer or the person following these people, is that we're not saying that somebody that is presenting this message can't be right sometimes. I mean, they're going to be right sometimes because they're going to be individuals where that diet or that thing is life-changing from them. But for you as a consumer, I think it's smart for you to be balanced with the content you're consuming by making sure that you have someone who's countering.
You know why that's so brilliant, what you just said, Adam, is because no one is going to explain and sell like carnivore diet better than a carnivore zealot.
Right.
And no one is going to explain and sell veganism better than a vegan, maniac. So it's a great way to get, that kind of information. A good coach will almost always answer, I'd say 80% of the questions that you ask them when it comes to fitness and health by saying this: it depends.
Yeah.
If you ask a coach or trainer, hey, is this the best exercise for that? Or what about this food? Is this good for that? Or what about this diet for that? And they answer and they say, well, it depends. That's when you know you've got somebody who's got some experience working with lots of different people, understands that there's not always, that there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of gray when it comes to health and fitness.